Welcome to the Impact Show one day before the Impact Provincial Wrestling Federation. I got that in one take, which I actually didn't. I botched it 3 times. If no one's ever seen me, hiya. Welcome to my Impact review. I botch and I suck. I'm not like other wrestling reviewers. If you will see my content, you know that I botch. I try to make it as entertaining as possible, which I don't always. I try. And I try to give you a fair, decent review that most won't give you of other content. You're welcome. Okay, what do we get for this show? This show I wish was saved for Hard to Kill, at least some aspects of it. I'm being honest here. I wish they would save this for January, but since Hard to Kill, I don't know when they're going to do Hard to Kill. I think they're doing it in the beginning of January or the middle of January. They're getting things set up now because they're about to go on vacation. We know this. They always go on vacation around this time. We'll get maybe one more Impact, one more, and then they're going to do reruns, I believe. They'll do 2 weeks of reruns, and then they will go automatically into the new year of 2023. So they're getting things done now. Now, first, let's talk about Bully Ray. I'm going to tell you this now. I'm not even going to say anything other than this. Was his promo good? Hell yes, it was. For Impact standards, it's one of the best promos I've seen in over a year and a half. Flat out, he knew what he was doing. When he came out, guys, you want to see how old school Bully Ray is? Bubba Ray. He came out and he was staring down a little kid. Staring down a little kid. I don't know if I got the shot. I don't even know if I'm putting shots in. I probably am. But he was staring down a kid. Made that kid feel so awkward. Either awkward because he didn't know how to handle it, or they spoke to the kid early and said, look, act awkward. You're going to be on TV. I think he just made him look awkward. But that is an old school style wrestler that so many people don't understand these days, that it's about character as much as about the in-ring performance. And talking what he talked about, he made it very clear. Look, I didn't lie about not one damn thing. I did exactly what I was going to do. I don't understand why you people don't get it. You're too damn slow and too damn hickish. I said I was going to face him in the ring. I told everybody I was going to face him in the ring. I told him to his face when I was going to face him for the Call Your Shot challenge and the cup. That's what I told everybody else. I did exactly what I was going to do, and I did it. The only thing he didn't say was, well, after I did that, do you actually think I'm going to be nice to you afterward? That's the only thing he didn't say. But he was implying it. He made it very clear. Look, do you know who I am? I'm Bully Ray. I said I was going to do it right from the beginning. Does not mean I'm not going to do what I do best. Be a freaking heel and piss your asses off, which he did. He pissed a lot of people off in that arena. One of the major problems, though, with Impact, we barely heard it. I'm sorry, you heard boos, yeah. But if that place was pretty packed, shouldn't it have been louder than that? That's one of the problems Impact does. They never mic the audience. You can't tell me they don't mic the audience. Look, AEW has good mics. It doesn't mean they have perfect sound all over the place. They botch and they mess up. WWE does the same thing as AEW. NWA has an issue. Their audio is not that great like Impact. But because Impact supposedly, and I know about Daza, what is it? D-A-Z-N, Dazn. There you go, Dazn. I know about them now getting a deal that they get more international coverage in the UK and India and everywhere. I know someone's going to bring it up. Say, dude, do you know they're getting something good now? This is great. Nope. It's not great. You don't get it, do you? Now, I'm going to get back to in a minute. But I want to address this right now and nip it in the bud. As much as everyone continually says Impact is making money overseas, internationally, guess what? Why are they not traveling internationally more often? No, they're based in America. They get a good chunk of the money from America. They want the American market. As much as they're getting more exposure internationally, They want that American money. Do you not understand that Impact Wrestling wants American money more than European or Mexico or Canadian money? Not saying that if they don't get it, if they get it, they won't be happy. Yes. But they keep focusing in America. If they cared so much about the international fans there, you know what they do? They travel more to Mexico. They travel more in Europe. They should do a full European tour by now. Look, they need to do a European tour. Yes, I know it's still a problem with COVID, and they do have to be careful. But they could have done a European tour, already scheduled one. Now, maybe they will be scheduling next year, but I doubt it. They're still based in America, and the most they'll go is America, Canada, Mexico. Back and forth and here. It's more easier for them, and it's more cost effective than that. That's what they care about. Even though Anthem owns them, they don't pay all the bills for them. So unless they get some good American money and more good American press, they're still WWE, AEW, here as a distant third. Distant. And under there is probably New Japan Pro Wrestling, because they're now beginning to have a better presence here. New Japan Pro Wrestling, NWA, and MLW. If anybody says MLW is getting up to here, I haven't seen on any sites that MLW is more powerful or more prestigious than Impact Wrestling. Impact has been third or second. It is still third and second. That's the deal. Yes, the numbers have been bad lately, but still, they're still considered third. Sorry. And after that talk, we get Rick Swann coming out trying to beat the crap out of a Bully Ray because of what happened with Josh. And they get the match. First match. Bully Ray versus Rick Swann, which is actually not a bad match. It's the first time they ever met one another in this Impact ring. I don't know about anywhere else outside of Impact Wrestling, if they were a part of anything else before Bully Ray went away and came back. Don't know. Maybe he's done some work in MLW with him. I don't know. Only thing I know, that is the first time in Impact. It wasn't a great match, but it wasn't bad either. In the end, Bully Ray DQ'd the match because he used a chair. He didn't care. No, not a chair, a chain. Sorry, his chain. Not the one around his neck, the one he carries, that he puts around his neck, next to the one around his neck. He used that, gets wiped out, and pisses off 100% seeing Tommy come out there was not surprising. He's going to come out there and he's basically going to face him. What are you doing? And then he shoves him back. And that's Bully Ray making it very clear, hey, what's wrong with you? You used to be better than this. And then Scott comes out. That's the one that was more interesting. Since we did not see after the show was over what Bully Ray did in a very badly produced, not wrestled, Overdrive. A badly produced Overdrive. Not a badly wrestled Overdrive. I want to make that clear. We didn't see it. So we got a chance to see it again because Scott broke the cup. And here, pretty much he wanted to rip Bully Ray's head off. Did he look funny while doing it? Yeah. But he looked serious? Yeah, at least enough to make him presentable, believable. I'm alright with that. Now, second match of the night was Gunther versus a Moose. I didn't expect anything from this match that other than Moose destroying a Ugadi Gunther. I believe that's his first name. I mispronounce his name because I don't normally think of his name. But he did put up an okay match, but as you know, Moose is going to do whatever he can to win, which he did. And then he tried to beat up on Gunther, and that is when we got a little bit of a talk from Moose basically saying that I don't care who's the champ now. I am the true wrestling god. I am the true greatest talent in there. If anybody thinks they're better, they better keep my name out of their mouth. And then guess who is the idiot that shows up? It is Joe Henry. I think think it's Henry, but he comes out with the digital media championship around his waist, and he makes it very clear, you called me. He said, I didn't call you. What are you doing in my ring? He says, look, whenever you speak my name, I appear. And you need belief. That's why I'm here. Puts his hand on his shoulder. And Moose is going like, are you serious? Who the hell you think you are? He tells him to get out of the ring, and he says, nope. But we get the fight. And then once it was all said and done, and Henry got knocked to the floor, then got back up, Gunjar spears a very nice spear to Moose from the second turnbuckle, as he normally does. It was a nice spear. But what are we dealing with here? Are we going to still deal with Gunjar dealing with Moose? Or is it Moose dealing with Henry for the Digital Media Championship? Now, I know not many people are going to say, oh my gosh, are you telling me they're going to make him do the Digital Media Championship? If you book it correctly, yes. Have Moose win the Digital Media Championship at Hard to Kill. That would be the best time. Not now, because it's almost time for vacation. So my feeling is that he will get that shot at the Digital Media Championship. If Moose holds the title, he will make it mean something. That's just me. Now, what else do we have here? The Trey Miguel vid pack. It wasn't bad, but it was kind of overproduced. I liked how he talked. He made it very clear. I love that damn title so much, I tattooed on my leg. I love that title so much, I did everything I could. And what did I get? Nothing. Everyone said it was a nobody. I was boring. I was tiring. You know what? I ain't tiring no more. But here's the problem. It was okay in the first 10 to 15 seconds of going like this. But you know what? They needed to stop for a minute and focus on him, or just have an image of him and pan kind of like this. So people can really get a good look at the new Trey, having a good chain around his head. I think he wore a hat at one point. I can't remember because how the camera was moving around so much. It was distracting. I wasn't paying total attention as I was writing it. Normally, if there was something distracting that I couldn't really focus on, but I can hear what's going on, I write my notes. So that's what I did. I noticed him, but you going like this? That was overproduced. You don't need to do so much of it to get a person over. You do only enough of it to make him mean something different, to make him feel like he's important, but not to make the vid pack more important than him. It was almost like they were overproducing the vid pack to make it look so cool, to show how great he is. They made it more about the vid pack than about Trey. I don't agree with that. They didn't need to go overboard with the over like this. Sorry guys, if anybody gets upset stomach because I'm sorry. But you get my point. Now, we got the match between Kaz as well as Macklin. Macklin, I understand, is now married Deonna Purrazzo. Congrats. Hope they had lived a very good life. I know they've been dating for a while, so now knowing they're married, that's a good thing. Hopefully they'll stay together. The match was also a first-time match. Kaz has never generally dealt with Macklin in Impact. Not saying he didn't deal with him outside, but here was new. And it wasn't a bad match. I actually liked it more than I liked the Gunjar and Moose match, to be honest. The Rich and Bully Ray match was good. The Moose and Gunjar match was okay. I think maybe Gunjar needs a little more work, and Moose had to work a little harder to try and make it look good. Here, Macklin's a good wrestler. He's a good ground and pound wrestler. And Kaz is Kaz. Frankie Kazarian still, I believe, and I'll say this at the end of this review about what I think, what would happen if Bully Ray doesn't win. But this is just my thoughts. But it was okay. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Macklin got so angry because he couldn't beat Kaz really quickly enough. He nails him with a chair. And Kaz wins. But here's the thing. He makes it very clear he wants the damn title. When is his title shot coming? Which I've been saying, why didn't he have a title by now? He could have easily gotten the X Division title, which I do believe he was ready for. Now the question is going to be, are they going to actually do something with him in 2023? Because they ain't doing nothing now. They're going to do something, hopefully, with him. Not just throw him and feed him to Josh. But that's just me, guys. Tell me below. We get the final match of the night. Deonna Purrazzo versus Mickie James, which was the best match of the night. It was. Again, the rodeo. If she loses, she goes home and retires. Bye-bye. Now, how did I feel about the ending of that match where Deonna tries to cheat by grabbing the tights and Mickie does in turn grab the tights and cheats as well and wins? I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm not going to say it's good. This is what I expect. I knew Mickie James was going to reach the end to reach a Jordynne Grace. There was no way it wasn't going to happen. But I do not agree that you're going to do Jordynne Grace now, setting up for Hard to Kill now, and she doesn't go up against Marsha Slamovich. Now, I'm sure someone's going to say, well, Marsha, guess what? Marsha will probably be her first opponent once she wins the damn title at Hard to Kill, probably. Because I doubt they're going to let Jordynne Grace win over a rising of a Mickie James. I just don't believe that. I don't. As much as I love Jordynne, I do love Jordynne. That woman has worked her ass off to prove as a power lifter, not a fitness expert like a, was she a fitness, I think she was a fitness expert. And that was Tessa Blanchard. She was a well-known fitness expert and did competition. I believe she did. But Jordynne Grace is a full-fledged powerlifter with records under her belt. I can believe anything she does. She's built like it. They've proven it. They've shown footage of it. She earned it. So everything she's done, they booked her correctly. She came in as a powerlifter. She's proven in actual life that she was a powerlifter by winning championships. And I think it was Georgia that she won. I could be wrong. For almost lifting over 400 pounds, or at least near 300 to 370 pounds, I believe. She proved herself as a real powerlifter and her character as a powerlifter. She proved it. So I got no problem with her 100% being what she is. She's earned it. But I wish they had set this up for Marsha. But here's the problem. We're in December. There's no way they're going to set up Marsha now. There's just no way. And once it reaches into January, counting on when they have Hard to Kill, either in the middle of that month or at the end of the month, they probably thought there wasn't enough time with Marsha Slamovich, unless they're crazy enough to do it, because they may still do it. Marsha may come back in the beginning of the year, and before Mickie gets her match at Hard to Kill, she will go up against Marsha Slamovich. And understand, this will actually set up for Jordynne Grace, because if she can beat Marsha, which she will, there's no way she won't. She will beat Jordynne. That's the way it's going to be. And if she doesn't have a match in January with Marsha, she'll probably be the first opponent she's going to have. And guess what's going to happen? Marsha's going to get her ass cleaned. Again. And so many people that... Now, I'm not saying anyone on the comments, but I know so many people love Marsha, saying she's an indie darling. She's so great in all the promotions she's been in. Well, as I said before, it's not about how many promotions before she was greatly booked in. It's about the promotion she's in now. And as it stands again, Marsha Slamovich has been booked like crap. She has not been booked correctly at all. So this is what you get. So, we got a lot of stuff here. I honestly am very interested in seeing how they're going to do Trey. How they're going to do... Yeah, I know Savannah Evans is going to have a match next week, but I'm not going to talk about that until I see the match and see how Tasha is going to react to her winning or losing. I want to see if they're going to finally break them apart. But this show wasn't bad. I'm not going to tell you it was a bad show. And finally, as you can see the title, Dina was the one. I remember, I think it was around 2020 or 19, that Dina had joined Violence by Design. He was attacked by Eric Young. He'd already gotten his hands on Joe Joe Dorling. And he was, no, was he? Did he actually do it? I think he had Joe Dorling by him by that time. But then he was beginning to set him up as the first one that will follow Violence by Design. And you can remember, if you saw him, he had the long hair. He was still part of the Deaners. He had long hair, was working with Jake, cousin Jake. And he got the water poured on him. He was reborn. He was Diener. He got his hair cut. He changed everything about himself. And I knew sooner or later, and I'm sure someone will remember, that it said sooner or later, Diener is going to have to face Eric Young. Either he's going to turn face and face him, or something else is going to happen. I didn't know what it was, but eventually he was going to face Eric Young, probably turn back to a face and go back with cousin Jake, which Jake something's not there now. He's gone. But look at what we got. We got a setting at the very beginning at an old jail. Same thing as what it started before we got, I think Joe Dorling came after Diener was converted. I could be wrong. But I'm sure that Joe Dorling was first, but I think it might be. It's hard to remember. But he's asked, and that is Diener, do you know what the sickness is? He says, yes. Do you know what you are? He says, I'm violence. And he says, if you know this, if the sickness was in this room, what would you do? And he hesitated. I knew where this is going. And I'm like, yes, but then, oh boy, I guess it's over. Because that's what this is all about. We already know that Eric Young was reaching a point where he's going to head back to WWE. We already know this. It was stated that Eric was probably going to leave Impact Wrestling by 2023. Somewhere around the beginning or the middle of that year. So, what did we get here? Eric asked him again, if you saw the sickness, would you know what to do? And he says, yes. Would you do anything to get rid of it? Yes. He puts a shank on the table. And understand, if you don't know what a shank is, it is a piece of plastic. Not usually a piece of metal or a piece of wood. If you can get wood in there, you would. But it would be like a piece of plastic. You sharpen it to an edge and you would use it as a weapon. And when it was placed on the table, they started struggling over it. And you can see Eric and him fighting. Eric getting his face smashed in. I think I got one shot of him with blood running from his nose. I think it's going to be in there. I think I will be putting images in. But once it was over, he said, why did you make me do this? Why did you make me do this? He says, because you are the one. You must destroy the sickness. You must destroy it to be pure. In that basic sense. And he takes a shank. And he says in the background, that's Eric, I may be the architect of the violence, but you are the violence. And then he sits on the table with a bloody hand, which was all ketchup, with the shank, sits there with blood in his face. He is now the leader of Violence by Design. Eric's done. And if he does come back, I'll be surprised. Now, not saying that Eric wouldn't come back, but essentially speaking, as the leader of Violence by Design, he's done. That means when it comes to Connor and when it comes to Alan Angels and anyone else that bring into Violence by Design, it will be Diener who's running it now. It will not be Eric Young. Now, for me personally, I kind of wish they'd done this at Hard to Kill. That's what I kind of wish for this. I wish that this has been the setup for Hard to Kill. But if Eric is done with Impact and his contract is finished in the beginning of the year, then he's not going to be there to finish up the final parts of Diener having to try and look for him or do something with him, and then they would play this at Hard to Kill. Guess that's not in the cards. Am I glad to see Diener now as the person they really focus on? Yes. But then I'm worried because here's the thing. Eric worked in WWE. He worked in NXT and he created Sanity, which was a great gimmick. He and Triple H, Paul, created that gimmick together. Not saying that Paul Levesque didn't, Triple H didn't put a large and good amount of stuff into it, but Eric made the character of Sanity work. Not a problem here is, he did the same thing with Violence by Design, and at one point Violence by Design was hot, but it stagnated. It's been stagnant for a while now. They've had championships, they lost championships. They never really culminated in something. Yes, when it came to Rhino, there was a certain point it was really good, but then it wasn't. The key of this, what were they going to do next with Eric Young as the leader? Nothing. Joe Doiling is facing, taking care of his brain cancer right now, so he's not there, and I really hope he's okay. But there's no one else there but Deaner. And then when they brought in Alan Angels and Connor, or Khan, that gave it new life, but it's still Eric doing the same thing. So either Eric was done, he didn't want to do it anymore, or he felt, maybe Eric, that it's time for Deaner to take over. This is what you get. I'm kind of worried that they may not know how to book Deaner as the Violence by Design leader after this. I'm worried about this. I know people can say, dude, don't worry about it. No, I am going to worry about it. Because Impact Wrestling has a track record of when they create something, or is created, that is either a bite off of something, or it's totally original, sometimes they don't know how to continue it. Or they basically hammer it into the ground so much to leave a hole, and the hole basically is annoyance and people can't stand it. It's not like they just let it go when the time is right. They never do. Either they let it go way too early and it just ends in crap, or they hammer it into the ground like Aces and Eights. I know people loved Aces and Eights. I did as well. But if everybody remembers, because no one in the comments ever says, oh, you know, you're kind of right, because the last 5 to 6 months of Aces and Eights was actually getting really bad and repetitious. Did you guys forget that? That a lot of reviewers, and the Sleg Daddy particularly, and probably just Alex when he was known as the Lexman, they got tired of watching Impact and they stopped reviewing it. Wasn't just because it was not really popular. It was because it was getting sucky. So you can't tell me I'm wrong. But if you feel like that I am wrong, tell me, and I'll say, okay, it was like this, but do you remember this, that, and the third? I will bring that up. Peace.